everyone. Today we're going to be working on systems of equations substitution. So just like what we did with graphing, we're trying to find that one point that will make both equations equal. Now substitution is the act of placing in what one variable equals into another equation and solving for that variable. So substitution is seen a lot in sports. Somebody playing one part of the sport will be taken out of the game and replaced with something else. So that's kind of the key concept we're going to be using throughout this entire problem. So here's our example. Find the solution using substitution. 2x minus y equals 2 and 2x plus y equals 6. What we need to do is find an x value and a y value that will make both of those equations equal. So here we go. Step 1. If needed, get one variable by itself. It doesn't matter what equation or variable you solve for. Use the rules and standard to slope to solve. So I can choose either one of my equations. Go with the simplest one. Try to find the equation that has a y all by itself or an x all by itself. It really doesn't matter. And if it doesn't have that, that's okay. Just pick one and then move on. So I have 2x minus y equals 2 and 2x plus y equals 6. If I'm doing this problem, I'm going to choose this problem or this equation right here because that y is all by itself. It doesn't have a negative. It doesn't have anything to go along with it. So I'm going to take my 2x plus y equals 6. And now I'm going to get my y all by itself. If you're looking at the equation and you want to get x by itself, that's okay. The rules still work. Just make your life easy. So I'm going to get that y by itself by taking my 2x and subtracting it on both sides. 2x minus 2x cancels out, leaving y equals negative 2x plus 6. Great. I have gotten my variable all by itself. Now, what I'm going to do is move on to step 2. And step 2 is plug in what the variable equals into the other equation in place of the same variable. And make sure to put the replacement in parentheses. So I have y is equal to this equation right here. I'm going to take that equation and I am going to plug it in for y in my second equation. So it's just like in a game. Negative 2x plus 6 is on the bench. Y is in the game. Negative 2x plus 6 is going to go in place of y. And we're going to write everything else the exact same thing, except instead of y, we're going to put this in parentheses. So let's see how that looks. We have 2x minus. Now instead of y, we're going to write negative 2x plus 6 in parentheses and have that equal to 2. Again, nothing changed besides the y being replaced by negative 2x plus 6. Just going to rewrite it so that we have a little more space. And here we go. Step 3. If needed, distributive property. And we know how to do distributive property. We are going to take the number in front of the parentheses, and in this case, it's negative 1. And I'm going to multiply it by everything inside the parentheses. So I'm going to have 2x plus 2x minus 6 is equal to 2. Notice how we have two x's in the problem. That's great. If you have an x and a y, then you did something wrong. So moving on to step 4. If needed, combine like terms. And I see that I have a positive 2x and another positive 2x on the same side of the equal sign. So I'm going to add them to have 4x minus 6 is equal to 2. Now this should look familiar. And we're going to move on to our step 5. Step 5 is solve for the variable. So let's get that x by itself. We have 4x minus 6 is equal to 2. Going to add 6 on both sides to get 4x is equal to 8. and then I'm going to divide by 4 on both sides to get x is equal to 2. Great. We have found what x equals. Now we need to find what y equals, which moves us to step 6. Plug the new amount into either original equation. So not the equation that you put into slope-intercept form. It has to be an original one. So maybe I'll plug it in into 2x minus y is equal to 2. And I know that x is equal to 2. So we're going to do some more substitution and take this 2 and plug it in where I see an x. So we're taking x out of the game and replacing it with 2. And now we're going to have 2 times 2 minus y equals to 2. Notice how the other variable is all by itself. That is what you want, because that moves on to step 7, which is solve for the other variable. 2 times 2, we know is 4. We're subtracting by y, and that is equal to 2. Now we're going to continue to solve by subtracting 4 on both sides. We have negative y is equal to negative 2. We're still not done yet, though, because we need to divide everything by negative 1 to get y is equal to 2. We are almost done. Step 8 is to write your answer as a point. Remember, the x always goes first. In this case, it doesn't matter since it's the same numbers, but we would have x go first, y go in second, and we have our answer. Remember, you can always check, which is what brings us to step 9. And it says plug your point into the other original problem and check your answer. So our other original problem was 2x plus y equals 6. Instead of x, I'm plugging in 2. And instead of y, I'm plugging in 2. And that should equal 6 after being added. Let's check. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 2 is 6. Yay, we have done it correct. It's a lot of work, but I know you can do it. Good luck.